Well, good afternoon. Here from Vista, California. Tetractys Institute, Metaphysics and Evolution. Today we had ceremony, spring equinox, over at Alta Vista Botanical Gardens, and had an interesting crowd show up. Some really good, thought-provoking, just presentation, and had some great musicians with us in the corners, each quadrant of the circle, to help us setting some of the energy for this time. We were talking about cycles, so this is a very important one because this is a lot of people begin in the north. The north is an interesting direction because it is a point of emptiness, point of absolute beginnings. East is not the beginning thing that a lot of people may think it is, as much as it is. It's the first step. You are already standing. Uh, would be a way to look at it. It's somewhat, you already have a manifestation, you are already in a place, you should be moving. Stop moving and you end. So it's one of those things where stagnation is not allowed. A lot of times when it comes to cycles, we will continue to be pushed. We need to be patient with things, though, at times, because patience will have a lot to do with what your outcome is like. Great resistance has a tendency to build a lot of ghosts, devils, things that you don't want in a particular situation. I'm not speaking literally, I'm speaking figuratively, in the sense of what goes on between our ears and in our heart. So in the East, we set an intention for the first step. An old proverb would read, in order to move mountains, one must begin with moving small stones. And that is somewhat the intention of the East. We also discussed water, because water is very interesting in the fact the way that it holds intent. Our body is a water organized antenna in the way that we receive and transmit information, energy, consciousness. Our ideas and dreams, our sense of vision, all these things are relative to that part of our body, which is a good deal of our body. That is water content. Take that away, we're just dust. So the water is very interesting because the people talk about, like, you entered the room and the atmosphere was so thick I could cut it with a knife, etc., etc. Those type of old expressions have a lot to do with how we are sensitive on the inside to what is external when we walk into it. And so resistance to those things, and so without the level of definition, as I've said before, I see two different things that are going on there. We have people who have a tendency to react, and we have those who tend to respond. The reactors are very immediate and very ad hoc in the way that they may handle some things. Some of them strive on that, and it gives them greater motivation. That can be a good thing still. So don't get me wrong. We're not talking about what's right or wrong here. As much as it is, we really want to talk about what's going to work or not work for a particular person or a group of people who are trying to bring that unification of thought and process together for themselves. That kind of support and determination is important as well. We also discussed a little bit about going into the West, where we have fire, because we come out of the north and we go to the east, and we come immediately across by what's considered like the fire drill across the sky. That is our horizon, or our equatorial region across the sky in this solar system, that all the planets and the sun seems to have motion on. And these are the things that have passage when we have equinoxes and solstice markers, seasonal markers within our year. So in the West, we had fire. We will get to that when that time comes, and then south as well. Earth will be next in summertime. And so east, these kind of beginnings, these kind of manifestations, when you begin to move, has a lot to do with whether or not the landscape is as visible as one thinks it is. We can take in a lot around us, 180 degrees, our perspective clear across, but we're looking at something in any kind of distance. situation or condition that we're facing. It doesn't matter whether it's physical or mental, spiritual, what level it's on. Relationships dwell on that a lot, though, because they involve others. When we have situations that involve others, we are extending ourselves. Our ability to be who we are is being given also to the energies of other people. And that's where love comes in. See, because love is something that you use not only to defend each other, but you also use it to appreciate, embrace, accept each other. There is a yin yang to that, and that too needs to be kind of understood. So, out of the East, this first part of the cycle that we were talking about, just to jump to something, talking about the Mayan cycles, and just a quick note on that. This compression that is occurring is interesting to me, somewhat in the sense that many other parts of history beat this point to this heartbeat that comes across like a snake rising and dropping off of a timeline, so to speak, of where these cycles hit that are actually round circles, and then where they touch, we see them cross the line and sweep into the bottom of another circle, to the top of a circle, to the bottom of the circle. We see this, which is actually a curling wave, so to speak. The very motion that we have through space is the same motion that these cycles follow. And we're doing this sideways, by the way. We have the sun and the planets and everything going around like this, and it's running straight forward, like flat, like standing up on its edge. It's not cutting through space like this. It's driving itself through space. And we have this whole thing that envelops us and everything to get into the physics of what our solar system is like, a huge bubble passing through a very dense, energetically wise, it's dense, but spatially wise, it's not so much so, traveling through what we call space and time. So when these cycles are introduced back to us and the things that we are bringing back to ourselves and our lives, it doesn't matter what your perspective is. This isn't necessarily about your religion, your belief systems, or anything like this. This is about us and how we bring things with us. We are not incapable of bringing love, hatreds, prejudices, blessings, curses, all kinds of things with us from life to life. And you can make anything out of that you want. But I think somewhere along the line, people have a tendency to ask themselves, what is it that's happening to me, and why is it happening to me? And if you really want to delve into those things, that involves a lot of self-questioning, pondering on those things at a level of where you begin to understand you are very capable of driving, even as a pile driving type of effect, but you are capable of driving yourself through this time and space that we are entering. And it is very different, but it is not so different that these energies we have not had to face these things before. Our numbers are great this time, which is why it's such a global issue. And it's more in our face. But let's remember that we decide on the inside, we decide really how things strike us from the outside. Like a gong or a bell, it has a resonance that strikes us. We have the ability to actually divide those waters so that they go around us. And penetrating yourself with all your fear, or staking yourself down to the ground type thing, and thinking that that's the greatest way to defend yourself, is just standing your ground, is not going to work this time. We need to be in motion. We need to be watching. It's important that we work with each other, find a way to embrace that. Alone, we are not going to withstand the wave of ourselves. We have to resist all of ourselves as ourselves in this situation. And we are rising in that, which is even more difficult, because this is like trying to rise, not only as you're trying to break the surface of the water to actually jump upon it like a dolphin or something up out of the ocean. There's a level of resistance there, massive amounts of resistance. And we decide some of what that is. So that's where it's important that we have unity. We are holding hands, in a sense, while we do this dance of correction. Tikkun, Kabbalic tikkun, of evolving for ourselves. So again, we'll get a little bit more into that. And right now, have a great day. It was a great ceremony that we had today. And looking forward to sharing some more. Again, comments are always welcome. Thanks for taking the time. Tetractys, Metaphysics Institute of Metaphysics and the Evolution. Thanks for tuning in. Have a good one.